Hi, I'm Kazul and welcome to my lair. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make an awesome wolf mask like this. Here's the materials you'll need for this build. You'll need to grab the pattern from my website. Please read the instructions before starting. For the contact cement, I use one called Dual 88. It's a specialty brand that must be ordered online, but Barge and Woodweld are more common brands that can be found at your local big box or hardware stores. A sharpener for your blade is awful handy to have and will greatly extend the life of your blades. 6mm foam is the best, though you can get away with a little bit thinner or a little bit thicker. I usually work with black foam from TNT Cosplay Supply, but for this demonstration, I'm going to be using SKS Props HD foam. Let's get started by cutting out the pattern. These green lines are registration marks and are very important to line everything up. You can use a pattern notcher or scissors to cut out each one, or you can skip that step altogether, and I'll show you how to keep those registration marks in the next step. Now we need to trace the pattern onto our foam. I like using a 4-color pen to trace my patterns. A ballpoint pen will give you a more accurate line for cutting, and the 4 colors match up well with the colors on the pattern to help you keep track of those important beveled edges. You can also use a Sharpie, it's up to you. If you didn't notch out the registration marks, here's how you can transfer that information to the foam. I also added little arrow marks along the blue edge to show that needs to be beveled inward. There are 2 dotted edges in this pattern. You can cut these out as 2 separate pieces, or trace and flip directly over this line to make one piece. Make sure you compensate correctly for the thickness of the Sharpie when you flip it over. Give each piece a little space around it to make cutting it out easier. This is the large size of my pattern, and I ended up using a piece of foam about 24 by 17 inches. This means that a normal sheet from the suppliers I have listed below will get you at least 3 masks worth of foam. Now it's time to cut out your foam. For the best cut, start with a fresh blade or give your blades a quick sharpen before starting. If you use a Sharpie to trace your pattern, make sure to cut on the inside of your line for the most accuracy. Black edges on the pattern need to be cut straight up and down to make a 90-degree angle. When cutting the edges marked in blue, you'll need to angle your blade inward at about 45 degrees. I like to find my center, then go to the correct angle, lock my wrist, and pull with my shoulder. Try practicing on scrap foam a couple times to get the hang of it. Now this red edge on this piece is special because it needs to be beveled to the outside. This red dotted line and shaded area show where the bevel will be. If you're cutting the bevel with your knife like I've shown, you should be able to cut off the shaded area and trace where the solid line is. But if you intend to bevel with the Dremel, cut it at 90 degrees on the dotted line. Then, when you've cut it out, trace the solid red line from the pattern onto your foam. If you connect that line to the bottom edge like this, you'll get a visualization of the section of foam you'll need to Dremel away. Using a sanding drum bit, just sand the foam away. I made myself a Dremel box a few years back, and it really saves your room from dust. Foam dust is terrible for you, so make sure you protect yourself if you intend to bevel in this way. You can also do these same steps for the blue edges, just make sure to bevel it on the back side of the foam instead of the front. The next step is gluing. Contact cement has fumes that are terrible for your health, so make sure to do it in a well-ventilated place and keep any pets and small children away.
Okay, Raina, you gotta go out. Can you go out? Out. Go out. Come here. Come here. Go out. Out, out, out. Sorry. I love you.
I always use gloves and my respirator while gluing. Apply a thin layer of glue around the edges. Wait for that layer to dry completely. It'll lose its shine and be tacky to the touch. Then apply a second thin layer of glue. For this demo, I used a hairdryer to quicken the drying process. But I always find that by the time I'm done applying the first layer to all the pieces, the first pieces that I started on are dried enough to just start the second layer right away. Now I'm going to take all these pieces into my homemade fume hood to apply the rest of the glue. The 2 layers of glue are dried, so it's time to assemble the pieces together. I always love this step because things come together so quickly. I recommend still wearing your gloves at this step because it's still sticky. If you find parts are sticking together before you're ready, use a piece of wax paper to separate them until you're ready. Just follow the glue layout and order from the instructions for what I found as the most efficient way to put it together. With all the pieces together, it's time to take out that ear shape pattern piece and trace it onto the head. The placement is up to you, but try to keep it symmetrical as you can. This is where you will apply the glue to attach the ears. Last up, you'll glue in the mounting bars. Now you have a really cool base, which you can finish into anything you want. You can finish it to be a mask, or perhaps a pauldron, an armor piece, even a puppet. Now I'm going to show you an example of how I finished mine. I picked up some of this gap filler stuff from TNT Cosplay Supply with my last order, and trying it out, I really like working with it. Much better than Quick Seal in my opinion. One thing I forgot to record is that you can use acetone just on a little Q-tip to clean up any extra contact cement messes off the foam. When it's dry, you can sand it out, and it's much closer in density to EVA foam, so it's really easy to feather out and make it look really nice. I cut this pattern out on my laser cutter, and I should have used gap filler on all my registration lines, but they get mostly hidden after all the layers of sealant and paint. I used a heat gun to seal the foam before using some creature cast rubber to prepare the surface for paint. You can spray this product on for a much smoother application, but I decided to just add some thickener so that I could paint it on. I didn't mind the brush strokes, but I did sand between layers to knock them down a little bit. I ended up putting 3 layers of the creature cast on. I used Plaid FX flexible acrylic paint to add my design. I've never really been that confident with my painting skills, but I do know that if you are patient and keep adding layers, it'll keep looking better and better. And when I was happy with the paint, I put some elastic to hold it on my face, and it was complete. I called up my friend and we went and did a fun photo shoot to wrap up the project. Thank you so much for watching. I worked very hard on this pattern and I think it's one of my best yet. And I can't wait to see what you make of it. Speaking of which, I made a community feature video a long while ago where I showcased some of the builds that people have made using my patterns and tutorials. I had a lot of fun making that video and I would love to make another one. Trouble is, I don't have the capacity to gather all the photos and permissions from around the internet. So it would really help me if anybody who wants to be featured, email me. You'll find the email in the description below. Email me with the photo and your social media accounts you want credited, and I will hopefully compile enough submissions to make another community feature video. I know I have 3 sitting in my inbox from years ago, and I feel really bad that I haven't gotten to them yet, but I couldn't do a video with just 3 of them. So I'm hoping that if I keep advertising it, maybe I'll get more submissions enough to fill out a video. Also, I'm trying something new with this pattern. If you would like to purchase the foam already cut, marked, and beveled, ready to glue together and finish into whatever you want, you can find that link in the description below to that listing. And if this goes well, I may expand the service to my other patterns as well. One more thing, I have shirts now. I've been testing out different print-on-demand services to see which shirts I like best, and I tested it out with just my logo in a few different colors, and so you can get that, and that's in preparation for some cool designs that I've been drawing in my spare time that I hope to release soon. You can find the link to my shirts in the description below. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. I'm Kazul, reminding you to embrace your inner beast.